Stay tuned for the biggest fish, the hottest bites, this week here on In-Depth Outdoors.
Got it. Look at that. Wow, is that an incredible fish?
Got him.
All right.
Oh yeah. Quality Green Bay fish here.
We're headed to the best fisheries across the upper Midwest and Canada. We'll fish longer, explore unfished bodies of water, and go further off the beaten path in search of the hottest bites in fresh water.
Oh, look at that. What a specimen.
Here he comes, man. Get him.
What a fish.
This is In-Depth Outdoors.
Here we go, nicer mark. There we go. Nice. Ha. You know, so much of my strategy when it comes to ice fishing in general revolves around big baits and baits that make a lot of noise. This is a nicer fish. And that rattle bait was a natural selection in this slough. It's just something that dangled up. Whoa, there we go. Yeah. It's just something that rose to the top of the box when I went to go tie it on, because when it's murky like this, it's just so nice to attract those fish from off to the sides.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hey!
Not a bad double, my friend.
Kissing cousins almost.
Mine's not going to kiss yours.
This is a nice fish.
Yes, a couple beautiful fish.
Look at the gills. You can obviously see they're just foraging in the mud like crazy.
Yeah, probably on some kind of worms or kind of bugs or something. You know, we're actually out a little bit deeper here than I expected, but very nice perch. If we can catch, 15, 20 of those, we're going to be happy guys. So Joel and I are fishing today west of Fargo, North Dakota. We're up here in prairie country looking to get in on a great perch bite. We actually don't have the entire day to fish. If you kind of get a look at the sun over there on the horizon, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if we do get a show out of this today, it's going to be quick. Now if you take a look at a map, find Fargo and head about 20 miles west, what do you find? Slough upon slough upon slough, and they're loaded with perch. Now the lake we're on here today gets about 22, 23 feet is the maximum depth, and the perch that we're starting to find today are actually pretty deep. They're out away from the trees. Now what we typically look for is the perch to be up right there in that flooded timber, but they're not there yet. So what we think is these fish are out here near the deeper water, middle of the day. You know, it's about 2:30, 3 o'clock right now. As that sun gets a little bit lower, these fish are going to push up towards those trees, so we're going to move with them. But the bite should be pretty fast, pretty furious once we get on them.
The screen's just been full of fish.
The fish absolutely stacked in these bodies of water, and that's what today's show is going to be all about. How to get on a great mess of perch like this, fishing these sloughs near Fargo, North Dakota.
Look at my screen. They're just
nuts. I'm fishing the Tingler, you got the Rattle Spoon, and we'll see who wins. You know what we should do is we should find a slightly warmer place to keep those fish, because it's not going to be long and they're going to be fish bricks.
Right, agreed completely. Well, when a bite's this good, you can consider setting up the otter and just camp on them. That's the nice part.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
I might do that.
Well, see, that's the thing. Who wants to be the guy that gives up fishing time to set up the otter?
Markham Technologies introduces ice fishing to the digital age with the LX digital sonar system. Boasting vivid color LCD displays and features not found on other ice electronics, all digital units offer a user-defined display tailored to match the way you fish. An on-screen dashboard that puts critical information at your fingertips, and free firmware updates that guarantee your electronics are never outdated. This winter, step into the digital age with an LX Series digital sonar unit from Markham Technologies.
Took us a little while to find them, Joel, but they're coming pretty quick now, bud.
Absolutely.
I think that's what I like the most. Hey, that's a good fish. I think that's what I like the most about fishing perch. It is fast-paced action. You know, last week we were up on Lake of the Woods catching some real nice walleyes. Much bigger fish, obviously, up there, but there's just a certain quality about this kind of quantity. When you can drop the spoon down there and know that you're going to have another fish in about, you know, a minute or two. This one goes on the pile, Joel.
Thank you, bud.
No, you know, some weeks we keep fish, some weeks we don't. 2-3 weeks ago we kept a few fish, didn't keep any last week. I'm thinking that a mess of Christmas perch sounds pretty good, and I've said it before on the shows that if I have a soft spot for any species of fish, it's the perch. So I'm going to take a few home. We're moving them into the house there so they don't freeze so solid that they become difficult to clean.
There we go. Ha! Well, I need to thank James for, number one, allowing me to fish in the house, but number two, fishing outside so close to me. There, that's a nice fish. So often when these perch are fast and furious like they are, keeping the school busy, keeping them occupied with bait, with action, with motion is of prime importance. If James wasn't out there keeping the school going while I'm sitting here talking about this fish, they might move on, they might pass through, which is why so many perch bites are characterized by constant drill, 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 fish, drill, 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 fish. But when you've got a buddy that you can work with to keep those fish coming, keep the school fast, furious, active, you can just stay right on fish just like this.
I'm getting the crusty gloves, Joel Nelson. You know what that means. I'm dealing with a lot of fish right now. You big sissy. Oh, yeah. That is a nice one there. Woo-hoo. Pretty fish. Just smash that Tingler spoon. You know, I just love that style spoon, that flutter style spoon. As it just kind of tumbles down, flutters down, it gives off so much flash. And these fish just come in and just hoover them right up. And this is an awesome perch. I'll get him unhooked here. Give him the old taste of my thumb. That is a nice North Dakota perch. We're gonna put that one on ice. You know, one of the resources that Joel and I use, amongst others, to kind of keep track on some of these sloughs out here is North Dakota Outdoors. It's published by Game and Fish. They'll talk about stocking reports and new bodies of water that are hot, and it's a great way to keep up on some of the hot bodies of water that are really kicking off throughout North Dakota. And here, that's what perch fishing is all about. It's a real boom and bust cycle. You'll have this body of water will be hot for 1.5 years, and it'll go cold for 3 or 4 after, you know, fishing pressure has kind of thinned out some of the population base. At that time, it's time to move on to a new body of water, let this body recover. So it's kind of the trick to being a successful perch fisherman is to follow those lakes when they're and find them when they're in that up cycle versus down. So that North Dakota Outdoors, it's a great resource. So be sure to check it out. Whew. And it sounds like you've got something on the ice in there, huh?
Here's another nice one, huh, James?
Oh, they're all fantastic, man.
Man, you were calling me a sissy earlier. Maybe you should call me Smarty. I'm catching the same fish you are, and I'm staying warm.
When I called you sissy, I meant it. But no, I can't blame you. I just want to be outside. We've had so much time inside the otters this winter. You know, nothing against it. I love the fact that that's just nuts.
I got to the point where my hands were so cold from rehooking minnows from wow. Yeah, it's getting stupid now.
That is a beautiful North Dakota perch. So that one there, gonna go home, be part of the family feast this Christmas. Beautiful fish.
That's a big one.
I'm still gonna be antisocial, Joel, and stay outside here just as long as I can.
Hey, if you're catching fish, you can't complain with results. Look at that one compared to the others.
Craziness.
The new extreme thermal shelters from Otter feature a new look and unmatched protection from the elements. The fully insulated Pro XT 1200 features a 1200 denier shell built for extreme conditions, while the Thermaltop XT 650 features a 650 denier shell that locks in heat and eliminates condensation. All extreme thermal shelters are built on Otter's legendary roto-molded sled and proven oversized square tube frames. The all-new extreme thermal shelters from Otter, built tougher, stronger, smarter.
I love perch fishing.
This is bordering silly.
If perch got to be 5 pounds, I wouldn't do anything else. Oh, nice. Well, perch have long been one of my favorite species, and for this reason and this reason only. They're great biters. I love the way they hit. When they're on like this, your rod tip just goes dunk. They're aggressive, and man, do they eat good. One for the pile. Why don't you give me a quick count? I want 10 only.
You got it, bud.
10 for you, 10 for me. Call it good?
Sounds great. I don't need any more.
Yep, perfect. Whew. So what's really interesting about these sloughs, at least to me, is new bodies of water are becoming online, becoming available to the public all the time. I mean, what you have here is farmland. I would guess in years past, it was landlocked. You couldn't legally get to this body of water without crossing somebody's property. Oh, that one got off. But as these lakes expand, they run up against public roadways, and very often what you'll see is a roadway that literally just goes right down into the water and disappears. And that gives the public access to new bodies of water. And of course, when you first start fishing these newly opened and available sloughs or small lakes, the fishing is fantastic. Those road close signs that are on those roads that lead, that go just kind of bury right out into the lakes, I love those signs. The road might be closed, but the lake's open for business. Oh, what happened? What happened?
I had a big fish.
Your back reel went.
Ice right now is so problematic. We're catching so many fish that our reels are getting iced up. Everything we have is covered with water. Our Markham screens are literally filled up with frozen ice chunks. So a bite like this, while fun, can require some cleanup.
There he goes. You know, these Tingler spoons, VMC Tingler spoons, they're a flutter spoon, and really what that means is when you drop these down in the water column, they don't sink like a regular lead-bodied spoon. They do all kinds of fluttering and falling like this, and when these perch see that spoon as it gets like within the last couple feet of the bottom, it's fluttering in, looks like a dead bait fish. As soon as that spoon settles on the bottom, the perch just rush in and grab it, and more often than not, when I come tight on the line after dropping it, I've already got a fish on it. Nice fish. A little bit short of kind of that average that we've been catching here. We're getting a super nice class of fish right now. I'll definitely let him go. This is a sign of good perch fishing. You walk up to somebody, you ask him, hey buddy, how's the bite? His hands look like this, and he says, it's been a little slow. You know he's filling you full of it. Oh man, just love this. You know what, Joel?
Yep.
This is basically our Christmas show right here. And this is like the perfect Christmas gift for James. Let's just say there will be no returns. I don't need a gift receipt. One of the things to remember when you're fishing this style of spoon, regardless of the maker, when you drop a flutter spoon like that, it doesn't go straight down. It'll wander out to the sides just based on the shape of it. It kind of planes and glides as it flutters down. So if you don't see it on the way down on your flasher, there's a reason. It's because it's not actually inside your transducer cone anymore. In deep water, say 30 feet, it's really common for these flutter spoons, these VMC Tingler spoons, to go out 20 feet or more, and you actually get to almost jig it back like you would fishing a summer bait. All right, back in business. You gonna come out and join me?
You know what? They're biting in here too, man.
Oh, I know they are.
It's just crazy. Just constant.
If you're not catching fish today, take up golf. You're done. Fishing has rejected you.
Oh, wow.
Craftsmanship and precision are just words until you add driving passion and a knowledge of what defines rod building excellence. Tuned up custom rods are built with a perfect blend of rod balance and action. A truly custom experience achieved only with the highest quality materials, from the handle to the last guide and every thread wrap in between. It's these components, along with an attention to detail, that makes our custom ice rods a tuned up custom.
This looks like a better fish. Man, The bite has been incredible, and we have caught so many fish here today. And like we said, you know, that's one characteristic of a good perch bite. Lots of fish, lots of action, but one thing you need to be careful of is to keep from being tempted to keep more than your catch. We've got a 2-man limit of 20 fish total here in North Dakota. We could keep up to 20 each. That'd be 40 fish. That's way more than we need for our families, way more than we need for a meal. So we're gonna practice some selective harvest, and we've thrown back a couple bigger ones. We've kept some fish that'll be great for the frying pan, like this guy. But overall, we're making sure that even though we've caught, I don't know how many dozens and dozens of fish today, we're putting back most of them. So respect the resource. Make sure it's one of those things where you're keeping fish, but keeping them to eat and clean the ones that you want and not more than you need.
Absolutely. I think the last thing that we're trying to convey there is that a person needs to feel guilty about keeping fish. Just make sure you can use it. Exactly. You know, don't keep more than you need.
Right.
I believe I can accurately describe today's bite as Captain Insano. When we started today's show, we mentioned that we were only going to be able to fish from about 2:30 until dark. And there's a reason for that, and it really ties into the overall concept that we're trying to share here about the boom and bust nature of perch fishing. This is not the first lake we fished today. In fact, we started out on another slough where we busted absolutely nothing. It's a slough that has got a great reputation, and today it basically gave us the fin and sent us on our way. We show up on this second slough. It's one that we fished before. Come out, took a little while to find the proper depth, and once we did, boom. Great action, awesome quality, couldn't ask for anything more.
Come on, buddy.
Oop.
Yeah.
I will take your perch into the warming house.
Thank you.
At which point I'll walk over to my hole and catch one myself.
I'm just beside myself, man. Good stuff.
There he is. It's just nuts.
So have you timed it? How long did it take?
I'd say about 15 seconds, maybe.
You walked over, literally dropped right in one, didn't you?
Yep. My hands are so covered in ice, I can barely get my hand around the rod blank anymore. Come here, buddy. Woo, now that's a perch and a half right there.
Wow.
That is a big yellow perch. And you know what? He's one of the nicer perch here I've caught in the last 15-20 minutes. My goal was to keep 10. I've got 9. I'm gonna give him the free pass. He gets to count himself one lucky soul.
There we go.
See you later, dude.
Boy, this bite continues to impress. It feels extra good considering all the holes we drilled in the last lake looking for fish like this. Then to catch them is extra rewarding. But you know what? I'll admit, there was a point in time, sometime around the noon hour today, where we had literally drilled out that other lake. Morale was low. We weren't feeling too good about the bite, but James and I spend a lot of time on ice, and perhaps the greatest asset you can have as an angler when out fishing is confidence in your approach. We know what we're using works. We're very comfortable with our sonar. We're very comfortable with our equipment, and we've spent some time out fishing. But the worst thing you can do is literally cut bait and run. Quit. That's just not an option. You got to keep at it. Good things happen to those that put in the work.
I tell you what, I am just coated in ice. Joel mentioned it earlier. I'm coated in ice. My Markham's coated in ice. This is like one of those perfect times to talk about why we fish with the rods we do. Joel and I both fish with nothing but tuned up custom rods. And I'm really not going to talk about blank right now so much as some of the components we use and why we spend the money we do on these rods. Everything's iced up except our rods. And the reason that is they use these titanium recoil guides, and icing is almost eliminated on a day when everything is coated, iced up, and almost unmanageable. These rods repel ice so well that when you do get a little bit of icing on these rods, all it takes is just a little flick of the rod tip, or I'll pull on the line and it just cracks and pops right off. So if we were out here fishing today with a ceramic guide, we'd have big balls of ice on the rod, making it very difficult to fish. So that's really how I justify spending a little extra money on one of these high-end rods. It just makes fishing out here in these cold temperatures possible and so much more enjoyable. This specific rod is a quick tip. It's a great rod for panfish and perch. It's got a lighter tip to it that transitions into kind of a meaty midsection here. It's great for driving the hook home. Once you get into that backbone section, it'll handle any perch and just about any walleye you're likely to hook up into out here. So just a great rod for this purpose. It makes fishing out here in these cold temperatures a lot more doable. Well, this brings us to the end of today's show, and it also kind of brings us to the end of our episodes for 2013. We've got more episodes to go as part of our broadcast season, but this is the last one for 2013. So it's our holiday episode. And if ever there was an opportunity where I get to, kind of talk big picture, this is it. And I'm a proud father. I've got a 9-month-old baby girl at home, and I want to talk about that a little bit. And I know you've got 2 boys at home, and every chance you get to take them fishing. I've got that baby girl at home, and I'm thinking about the first time that I get to take her out on the ice or on the water. And it's a holiday show, so we're going to talk about resolutions, and I would just like to suggest that everybody at home at least consider making one of your resolutions for the coming year, getting your kids out on the ice or out on the water a couple more times than you have in the past. I'm excited for that opportunity. I guarantee you will not regret any time spent out there on the ice or water with your children. It's going to just bring back rewards for years and years to come. I know you've got some great stories about your boys. Just recently you took them crappie fishing.
Absolutely. We went out and we did a little bit of a drive, and we caught some fish, but they only fished 20 minutes, but they didn't care. They slipped and slided around on the ice, had just a wonderful time, spent very little time fishing, but hey, to them it was all about the fishing trip, all about the fun we had. They got pop, which they don't get very often, so just a blast for them. And like you said, James, any excuse you can use to get your kids out on the ice, it's a great one.
Take it. So who knows where we're going to be next week. We kind of try to spread our shows around a little bit, and we were able to determine that there's 2 states that we hadn't fished in yet. It was North Dakota and Wisconsin. We flipped a coin, North Dakota won. So there's a very good chance that after the new year we're going to be somewhere in Wisconsin chasing down a bite. But for today, I could not have had a better way to send off 2013 with this perch fishing that we had here today. It was fantastic. It's one of those bites that every time I come out here, we don't always get it this good, but I always hope that we do.
Absolutely. My face is not just frozen in a grin because it's cold out, but because we caught so many fish today.
Well, we got the hands to show for it. So, from both Joel and I, from our entire In-Depth Outdoors Pro staff, from the guys behind the camera, the editors back in the studio, and all of our support staff, we thank you for watching our show. We feel very blessed to have the opportunity to run around the Midwest and share our adventures with everybody at home. We do want to thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch our show. Of course, without you, there wouldn't be the opportunity for us to do what we do. So from all of us, thank you very much. Have a happy holidays and a great new year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
For more info on the latest fish reports, gear recommendations, and hottest techniques, connect with us online at indepthoutdoors.com or follow us on Facebook at In-Depth Outdoors. And if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to let our sponsors know.